shove a camera and going to shove a horn in yours. So they're actually quite relaxed people if you don't bother them. And here we are sitting quite close to nearly a dozen big African buffalo bulls, and they're very relaxed. And I have to ask you, and I know it's not a really nice subject, but how macho do you have to be to I mean, really, is it such a macho thing to shoot one of these boys when they're like this? I can't get the whole hunting thing. I really can't. So just thought I'd bring it up. Looking at these children, the way they are, just so relaxed, lying on the edge of the pan. Life couldn't be better. Can you see these?
Yeah, that's through the oxygen.
Yes. But just look at the difference in the size of the boss. Look at that bull on the left versus that bull on the right. And they're both fast asleep. But the boss that I'm talking about is this massive horn above the eyes, where the one on the left, he's got that oxpecker right in the middle of his boss, where the horn is knit together and protects his skull and his brain when he has to or has had to fight. Now if you look at the one on the left, I mean his left, our right, much younger bull. But having said that, that so-called younger bull is still an old bull. So it gives you an idea of how old that other bull is, because he's a really old man. He's one of those. Oh, he's huge. And there are a few more like him. This one sitting on his own. He's another big old man. You can see the two flanking that younger bull in the middle. Those two bulls are quite big. The one that's flat on his side over there, he's going to be a big old bull when he becomes a big old bull, but for now he's still on average. He's got a good spread. And then the two old boys at the back. Wonderful collection of Africa's finest buffalo. I hear a vehicle. And once again I'm looking at grey hair and feathers that are, oh look at that, that's blowing in the wind right in front of these buffalo. I'm so tempted to get up. Yeah? Yeah, and enjoy. Stand by one. And it's interesting to see as well if the individuation that they have. That they don't have markings. They don't have stripes like zebra. They don't have markings like giraffe or leopard or anything else. So there are different ways to really look at these things. And apart from the two that we've been looking at already, you look at all these other bulls. They're all sort of sitting up now because another vehicle arrived. And the difference in the curvature of their horns, the difference in the density of their boss, the differences in the shape of the nuchal muscle, that huge muscle that they have above their shoulders. Watch, he's going to stretch. Look at that bull. Look at that. I love that. It's like El Toro when a buffalo bull gets up and he stretches like that. Did you get that? He stretches that nuchal muscle of his because he's been lying down all the time. Okay, now, one by one, come on, all of you. Stand up and stretch. One by one. Show us those necks. Show us those. I want that heron feather. But I'd sooner jump into a crocodile-infested pool than walk out here in front of these bulls. Although I've no doubt that most of them would run away if I had to step out of the vehicle. They're all passive. They're all quite relaxed. There's a bull at the back there. Look at the horn. The one on the left at the back. Serious pair of weapons on his head. And of course they've got that nuchal muscle. They've got all of this neck muscle to be able to swing that head from side to side. And in swinging it from side to side, it just creates the perfect daggers of their horns. This bull standing up, his curvature is a little bit tight. The way his horns curve. And he's, oh boy, you it's like I can run over there and rub his tummy. Look at him. He's like, I don't feel so fat anymore. This one's also rolling over. Oh, a little bit of head rubbing with these two boys. He's gonna lie down. Okay, boys, we off. I think this is the old boy that had his eye damaged at one time. God, look at the size of him though. Compared to the others, the broadness of his head and his butt, now that they're looking up. Before we go, look at the size of this buffalo. This is nearly a ton of buffalo. What's a different angle? Yes. He's got his head at a little twig that's just tickling his nose, and as his head drops, because look what head drops and the twig touches his nose and tickles his nose. Drop the head a bit more. He might have broken the tip to it. Okay. Very seldom that we actually get to spend so much time with such relaxed bulls. I mean, often we find them just standing next to the road or standing in the road, and they're invariably showing us the process of eating grass. They're chewing, and at the same time there's the byproduct coming out at the other end, both ends. And it's actually very peaceful to sit with, one of Africa's so-called big five. I don't sort of buy into that whole big five thing, but sitting with one of Africa's most notorious of big mammals, and I've certainly felt threatened by them on many occasions when I've been on foot. They're not the kind of thing you want to bump into when you're on foot, depending on where you are. So it's really magic to sit with them and not feel threatened, and they're so relaxed. You get to watch some of that interaction between different bulls. Makes you think, what is it that makes them stick together? What is it that they're happy to be in each other's company? What is it that keeps them together? What kind of conversation do they have? How are they communicating? Do they need to communicate? Is it not just enough that they're in each other's company and they're just sitting here? And look at that. There's another one. That's Stretch. Yeah, watch him. He's going to do it too. Watch this. He didn't do anything. He just got up and it's getting up time, Buffalo Bulls. I want another stretch like that big bull at the back. He's a youngster, so he had muscles to stretch. That old man doesn't have any. It's like me. I don't stretch anymore. I'm like that old bull. I just get up and go. I don't have to stretch and do the whole display muscle thing, because I don't have any anymore. Yes, Aaron. One never gets to see Buffalo's full potential unless he stands up and he does that stretch. Didn't copy that. Go again. Yeah. Hello, Deborah. Deborah was wondering if there are any hippos at the waterholes here at Thornybush. Yes, Deborah, there are. We saw some hippos at Langwan Dam the other day. We can go past there sometime. Maybe this evening or tomorrow and see if they're back. But they were there for a couple of drives. You must have missed them. There were 2 hippo there. Oh, hello boys. That's actually very tender the way they communicate, these 2 boys here, these 2 old men. Okay, he's standing up. He might stretch. And he's going to stand up. He might stretch. Yes, he's going to stretch a little bit. Not much. And those other boys that woke up already, they're waiting for these boys to wake up, because they're saying, okay, sun's going down, cooling down, time to go and get grass again. Yeah, he's stretching as well as toileting. Flat. Have you got any of this interaction with these 2? Quite incredible. Maybe it's father and son. Maybe he's old enough to be the father of that other bull. But they have to have known each other for many, many years. Tractor. Two more getting up as a tractor comes by. Not enough stretching that I wanted. No, how many times? Elephants is Lanya saying. We can't get this. No, you can't get upset about that, Brad. Hey, old man. The boy. Okay, turn it radio off. Go ahead, Aaron. No, I guess we can do lion questions. I've decided to sit with these buffalo because they're getting up and they're starting to, we are recording. But I've decided to sit here with these buffalo, and since they are prey of lion, we can do a lion question anyway. So Vivian wanted to know something about lion. But I've just taken advantage of being with so many buffalo bulls at once, and we're at the time of the day when they're actually going to be getting up and doing a few things. I can't guarantee what kind of behavior we're going to get out of them, but it's just interesting. We haven't really spent enough time with buffalo like we have now. This old bull and that younger bull on his left have an interesting connection. And please don't ask how old they are, because I haven't the faintest idea. I have to look at their teeth. And I'd sooner go and collect that feather than ask them to look at their teeth. Yeah, I'm too lazy to walk around the water, so I'm just going to walk through the water. I want to go in a straight line that way, and the water just happens to be in the way, so I'm just going to walk through the water. That's an interesting question, actually. Vivian in Chicago. Hello, Vivian. Vivian's wondering about, it's a lion question, and it's all about males taking over a pride and then killing the cubs that may be there that are under a certain age, because they want to produce their own cubs, and they don't want to be defending a territory with another male's cubs. They've got to sow their own genes. So there is the tendency of male lion to kill cubs. Vivian is wondering if there's a certain age where the lion don't kill the cubs. And I guess you could say sort of maybe on average about a year or more. But in my history and in my experience, there's no... What? There was some discussion going on with those buffalo. Look, he's playing with the stick. This one. The stick was poking him in the nose earlier. He's actually playing with it. Watch. He's going to try and get it in his ear or in his butt or in somewhere where there's an itch. And then the boys at the back were talking about something. But and there's also a giraffe. I can see two giraffes through that tickle bush. But then it's not a hard and fast rule. there's some prides where cubs over a year will be left alone, and there's some prides where even 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, even 5. We found in the Sabi Sand when we had those first the Mapokos coming in, even adult females weren't safe. So it's not something that you can say, well, if a lion cub is a year old, it's safe from the teeth and claws of a male lion coming in and taking over the pride. It doesn't work that way. It's a behavioral thing, and I can't emphasize more that you can't put a label on something that is animal behavior, because every single individual animal is exactly that. They're an individual. They are guided by a certain amount of instinct. They are guided by a certain amount of learned behavior from their peers and family. But how they behave in different circumstances is not something that you can predict. It's not something that you can say, this is how it happens. So while some male lions might accept cubs that are a certain age, others may not. So generally up to a year or a year and a half, sometimes even 2-year-olds, but generally it's mostly cubs under a year. They're the most threat, but those are the ones that are still so dependent on the females, and those are the ones that are preventing the females from coming into estrus again. So if the male or the males, if there's a coalition of males coming into the pride, if those are the ones that are taking over the pride, they have a very limited time of being dominant over that pride and being able to maintain that territory. It's a shame to be talking about this right now, but just to finish quickly. They can only hold the territory for a short time, so they want to ensure that they can produce cubs. So cubs older than a year are not really much consequence, and the cubs under a year, if they kill them, that means that they can bring the females into estrus within a couple of weeks of them taking over the territory, and they can sire their own cubs and ensure that for 3 or 5 years they can maintain their territory and sire their own cubs to maturity, or rather look after them. Anyway, it's interesting looking at these two bulls that clearly know each other for many, many years. Just having a little bit of a head bash. Is that it? This one trying to coax him into sort of. This one's trying to push him. There we go. Come on, boys. Old brothers in arms. Okay, time for us to move on. Buffalo. I'm gonna turn. Hello. Can you see our shadows? Hello, everybody. Is that Sharon in Memphis, Aaron? This is the old bull that I think this is the old bull that had that eye injury. Oh, and those two giraffes are really bashing it out amongst themselves. I just heard one giraffe hitting another giraffe. Like a boxing match type thing. Sharon's saying that it seems we only see bulls. How do you tell the difference between cows and well, Sharon, you just haven't been with us long enough, because we will find a breeding herd. We will bump into them at some point in the next couple of days, because there is a big herd that is down south near our camp, and I'm hoping that we're going to see them pretty soon. And then you'll see what difference there is between the females and the bulls. You heard me describing the boss earlier, that area of the horns at the top of their head where it becomes this huge, massive horn. And the females don't really have that, and they have thinner horns, and of course they don't have the other male bits. They have female bits. They have mammaries, 2 pairs of mammaries, and calves in tow. Generally they have calves in tow, but they move around in big breeding herds. You don't see small groups of female buffalo. It's just not conducive to move around in small groups for buffalo. They have to move around in big herds, which are big collections of family groups of females and their offspring, and their daughters and their offspring, and their sisters and their offspring. Just this huge collection of buffalo with a lot of bulls. These old guys, these are the guys that have had enough of this constant movement of the big breeding herds, because the big breeding herds have to be on the move all the time. These old boys, they just want to find a little old waterhole like this and just come and lie in the mud all day. Lie in the mud with the dust. Now that the evening wears on, it's time to go and fill their first stomach with grasses so that they can spend the next daytime just chewing all of those grasses, ruminating. Okay, time for us to move. Probably coming down here. And those 2 giraffes that were sparring, we're not seeing them. But Hanley asking a question about oxpeckers. Interesting question actually, because Hanley's just learned that there are 2 types of oxpeckers, yellow-billed and red-billed, and we predominantly see the red-billed oxpeckers. And Hanley, ek gaan nou ophou want ek moet met een van die ander mense praat. Ek sal net nou gaan voortgaan met dit. Look at this. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Drive right underneath it so that we can get it in the beautiful late afternoon sunlight. The first time ever to see an African wattle flower in winter. Look at that. The 2, the 3, 4, there are a whole bunch of little flower spikes up here. It's been a while since I've been able to fly. Find you ladies a flower. Too many F's and too many L's. Find the ladies a flower. What's interesting is that there is every feature of the tree available right now. There's the leaf, there's the flower, and there's the pod. Cultiforum africanum, the African wattle. Beautiful tree when it's in flower. It's good couple of months early. I have no idea why it could be flowering now, this particular individual, but really special. A beautiful, beautiful flower. African wattle in flower. Who would have thunk? Let me see what my book says. Into just the flower book, and then I'll look at my tree book. I want to see what they say about the flowering time, so that I can write them and say your book's wrong. It's like I can write to the dictionary people and say they spelled remarkable wrong. Remarkable with a C, not with a K. Cultiforum africanum. Pachycarpus, Passiflora, Pavetta, Cultiforum 172. Cultiforum africanum, there we go. September to February. and we are only in July. And I can look at my other books and I'll say the same thing. It's the earliest I've ever seen African waterflowers. So, do I see anything different? Is there anything that I notice from time to time that is different because of climate change or because of whatever the case may be? These are the moments that I do find something different. African wattleflowers in July. African wattleflowers in July. It doesn't make sense. And I hope she's not going to get too disturbed by it. Let's just do that, calm myself down. Indeed. You see Mildred the crocodile. I think well by the one with the toes would curl if they knew that I called her Mildred. But what can I say? We see the same character every day, and she's actually, that one day when she came out of the water near us, it was quite special. Oh girl. Oh, she's so close, she's just stuck in the grasses. Don't direct me, David, but
It's so much grass.
there is. There, you get a close up of her eye.
Not really, but
There. Hello, pretty crocodile. I really like crocodiles. I mean, there have been times when I've really been close. Eye to eye with a crocodile can be special sometimes. Oh, relax, please. Come on, you're not doing anything. You're just sitting quietly. Keep freaking for no reason. Pity the sun is in the wrong place, but I can't tell you how special it is that this crocodile allows us to come so close to her. So I wonder what would happen if I got out and went and said and patted her.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, well, should we test it? Excuse me a sec, I'm just getting out. I'm just going to go and... No, I'm not. Only teasing. I'd no sooner go and take a chameleon off a branch than I would go and try and at a crocodile. I don't like interfering in their lives, and I don't want to negatively affect her. She's using this last little bit of sunshine to get a little bit of warmth. She might still be able to catch a fish or two tonight. Not that she needs to. Okay, we need to go because I want to go still find. Hello, starlings. Some starlings. I'm all good. See you tomorrow, girl. Playing just in front of us. There's two little boys just sparring. One trying to use a tree to rub. There you go. Some female buffalo and calves and hang on a sec, Aaron. Now, if we can, because there are some young bulls here and young cows and youngsters and all different sized buffalo, if we can, what I want to show you is that the female buffalo, the cows, they don't have this boss, that huge, heavy bulk of horn on their heads that the bulls have, that we call the boss, that they bash their heads with, that's developed over time to be able to cushion the blow and not affect the brain and not give them concussion. The females have horns because they do still need to protect themselves and their calves. They still need to use them as weapons, as do other bovids that still inhabit thick bush at times, but they don't fight with them, so they don't develop a very, very thick boss, as it were. Sambenyari, eastern side of Longwan Dam. Still 5 stations on standby on those lions. Still 5. I mean, it's been 5 stations on standby the whole afternoon. So there's just been one constant procession. I want to get around onto Central Road because the front of the herd is probably there and we might get to see some better, because this is the back of the herd, so we must be seeing the back of buffalo. Incredible kudu bull right here in front of us, and I just want to try and just see him. He didn't stop. There's another one coming across the road. Look, not as big, but another big bull. Hello, big boyki. Hello, Mr. Kudu. Hello. Pleased to meet you, Squire. Oh, you moved too far. Oh, a little bit shy. Quite special. I completely forgot what March is on about. Marsha. A why question about animal behavior that I don't have an answer for. But Marsha answered her own question with her question. Why some species, prey species, are curious about predators like waterbuck. Oh, there's another bull, look at him. Oh, there's 3 big bulls here. I'm going slowly because there are always a few bulls together. Why waterbuck would stare at a crocodile or fish a crocodile. I got the same question the other day about why kudu and waterbuck approach the leopard. The first thing you've got to learn about nature is you can't ask those questions why, because the only way to find out the answer is actually to observe that particular circumstance, that particular incident, and make deductions and make observations about that particular incident. Because you can't look into the minds of an animal and establish why it does things. But yes, Marsha, yes, to both of those questions that you asked, yes, it is to try and intimidate them to go back in the water. Yes, because they're inquisitive. Yes, for maybe a dozen other reasons that only the waterbuck know why they did that. I can't emphasize more often how, when it comes to animal behavior, there's certain things you can't ask why, because only the animal knows why it does things. It's a behavioral thing. It's not an instinctive thing that you can say, well, amoeba reacts to vinegar this way because it's amoeba, it doesn't have a brain and it's reacting to a chemical stimulus. Animals are different. Animals have these, they thinking, caring, feeling, emotional. One day they might do that and another day they might look at a crocodile and run away. It's not something that all waterbucks do every time they see a crocodile. Behind the camera person looking at the jigger. And what it is actually, there you go, David's showing you now, there are a couple of GoPros right up at the top of the antenna at the back of the jigger. This is a new compared to the old jig, but there you go. Okay, I got it. There you go. Although at the moment there are 2 pairs of GoPros at the back. Normally there's only one, but that's the back camera. And then the other thing that is new is this camera here. There's this GoPro here, which is my presenter cam, which we never had before either. But you're not allowed. Not allowed to. At the moment, you can't switch to that one, can you? We need to fix it. Not the case of not allowed, and that wasn't a Freudian slip. There's this camera here. We could record on this camera, but at the moment we can't switch to that camera during the drive, which I hope we could, but every now and then it doesn't let us. There's some anomalies happen on this vehicle. We've got 3 different cameras. The main camera, of course, which we always had, and there's this camera here, and then the camera at the back. And normally we can sort of switch between the different cameras, but right now we can't use this one. But we record with it sometimes. Sometimes you see me talking to this camera because we're recording on it for our 3D series. Susan asks, do I think animals have souls? I can't believe you're asking me that question. I can't believe that any human being can ask that question. And of course they do. How can it possibly not be? How can it be that we are made up of the same, we're made up of the same thing as every other mammal on this planet? How can it be we're the only ones that can think that we can have souls and language and feelings and families and everything? That is just so what's the word I'm looking for? Arrogant. We'll be the only one. Every single creature. You have to know an animal. You have to experience the passion and compassion and understanding and connection with another mammal, animal, bird, insect, even insect. Of course, everything's. How could they live otherwise? If they don't have soul, if they don't have a being. Every living creature is a being, even a flea or a tick. Every living creature is a being, is a living creature. It's breathing. It's got a respiratory system. Some creatures, okay, some don't have a combination of respiratory, reproductive, and digestive. And in some cases, either they have one or the other, or a combination of two. And it's only us higher creatures like mammals and fish and birds and reptiles and things that have all of them, reproductive, respiratory and digestive systems all at once. But yes, they do. There's no doubt about it. You have to know any animal, even if it is a mouse, to know that of course they do. They have characters, they have souls, they have slings, they have everything that we have, just on a smaller or a bigger scale. How can it be that they don't? Hey, old man giraffe, who chose to ignore us. Interaction this afternoon. It's been wonderful. And please join us again tomorrow here at Thornybush Private Nature Reserve, 6:30 Central African Time, 4:30 Greenwich Mean Time, or UTC. I'd say it's, I don't know, what is Universal Time? I don't know, what's UTC stand for? I don't know, but UTC I think is the same as GMT, so it'll be 4:30 AM Greenwich Mean Time, 6:30 AM Central African Time, and I'm not a world clock, so I can't tell you any other time. Okay, it'll be 7:30 East African Time, because they'll be up already in East Africa, so it's an hour ahead. It'll be about 4:30 in the UK, because that's Greenwich Mean Time. It'll be maybe, I think, Eastern Standard, sort of East Coast USA, maybe 6 hours, I don't know. See, I don't know. I don't want to say, because I don't know. It's 6 or 7 hours to New York. But that's why I say I'm not a world clock, so I can't get this daylight savings thing in my head, or know when you change, when you don't change. We never have to change. It's the same time every year, every day for us. So 6:30 it is, Central African Time, my time. Worry about your time on your calendar, and look at a world clock online or something. Even cell phones now have world clock settings, so you can go to GMT +2 or UTC +2 and set it. But hopefully you'll join us in the morning, and hopefully we'll see something else. I'm going to keep my ears open tonight for lion and things, although it sounds like they're all up on a giraffe kill, so I don't know if we'll have any lion action down here. But thanks everybody, love you lots.